And we are back with another feature. So we are here with round 6. So we have one more round until the top cut on the right hand side. We have Lavals and we have the Samuel Shepherd, who is a YouTuber. I cannot remember his YouTube for the life of me right now, but I will pull it up later. And also Kyle Sterling, who is playing Madolche. So we have a Curry Bandit effect going off. So, and as you can see, we have Lavals. So we have Lakeside Lady, we have Blaster, we have Rekindling, we have... See, now there's the interesting thing. We have Artifact Lavals. So he's taking the Rekindling, obviously. And Lakeside Lady should go off here, because he's going to choose which goes where. It's a very optimal first turn for the Laval player there. It's very, very nice. So obviously he's going to do the usual ditch the ladies, and then he will ditch one other Laval card, which will probably be Cannoneer, which it is. So I saw Sam's deck, and he's currently X2. So he's on table 20, so it's not the highest of decks currently. But I thought it was a really interesting one, and I wanted to actually be able to show this off to everyone, because I think it deserves a nice little show off. So yeah, so that is the deck that he's playing. So we have a Madolche deck, and we see that it has a Solemn Warning in hand. That could be a very difficult card to deal with, especially with some plays. So he's playing the Sanctum. So Sam opened up very well. So he's going to go into the Moral Attack. Moral Attack is going to pop the Hoot Cake, possibly, but he's going to pop the Shatter, which is actually a better choice. So he sets the Solemn Warning. He does have a double summon, and I don't know what the other one is either. So Sam's just looking at his graveyard before he starts his turn. So he draws for his turn now, and he draws a Breakthrough Skill. He's going to banish Lakeside Lady, activate the effect to pop one of his back row, and hopefully he hits the warning. I think he's going to hit the warning. He's going to hit the warning. His body language is aiming for the bottom one. Oh, and he's gone for the top, so it isn't the warning. It is a bottomless, so we now know what his face towns are. They are a Solemn Warning and also a double summon. He can activate Blaster if he so wishes, but I think it would be a waste of Lavals because he can do a Rekindling, but Rekindling is now going to get hit with a Solemn Warning if he does play it. So he summons... Now this is going to be interesting. He summons Cannon, and Cannon is going to basically get one of his Lavals from the banished zone, and he Solemn Warnings that because he knows what could possibly start coming out. This is where the Rekindling happens now. So he's going to go for 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, there are only 3, but it's still really good. So now he has some nice plays. He can go for a level 6. He can go for a level 11. He can do many, many things. He can go for level 10, sorry, if he so wishes. But I don't think Leo would be that much of a great choice right now. But he is going to go for level 5. And he goes for Dragoon. Dragoon is going to activate the effect to bounce cards. Now, as we may have known, I do enjoy Lavals. They are quite a fun deck for me to play with. But unfortunately, I did have them all, and then Rekindling got hit. And it kind of killed it for me because I've been waiting to play Laval Quasar for such a long time. And it just didn't happen. So thank you very much, Konami, for screwing me over. So, Dragoon is going to activate its effect to spin the card back. This now means that he does have some clear shots. A possible play for Sam, for the Laval player, could be to go into Go Your Guardian to take the Hoot Cake away from him so he can keep anything out of his graveyard. And that is exactly what he's going to do. So he's just thinking of some plays now. The Madolche player is on 6,000 life points. He might push for the blaster now to try and see if he can push for game. And that is exactly what he is doing. And so 2-8 blaster comes out. So this is going to see a Goyo Guardian probably attack. So yeah, the Goyo is going to attack to deal 800 life points. So basically, they're just calling a judge to see whose effect goes first. I believe, because it's turn player, I believe Goyo will actually go off first. It'll hit the grave, and then it's a bit of a difficult one. But he has just gone to check with the judge. In all fairness, this doesn't exactly matter, because after this attack, if this does go through, it's going to do 800 damage, and then the 800 damage is going to take him to 5-2, and then he's going to minus the 2-8, and then the 2,000. Oh, so it does matter. Sorry, he'll be left on 400 life points in total. So never give up and never surrender. 400 life points for the Madolche player. I do believe this is probably going to be game. Yeah, so he's going to scoop that one up there. That was a pretty obvious one. We didn't really expect much to happen from the Madolche player, because the Laval player did open up pretty fucking good, if you don't mind me saying. So that's game one. The Lavals take game one. And that is quite nice. I do realise I'm still in game 2. I do apologise for that. So, the Laval player has some interesting side deck choices, but a lot of them seem to be quite useful in the current meta, obviously, otherwise there'd be no point in playing them. The different dimension ground, everyone does seem to be running it now, along with Flying Sea, and a lot of people do really like the cards. They do work very well, and I feel that it's just a nice meta call. One interesting one here is Chain Disappearance. Now, Chain Disappearance is one that we haven't seen in a very long time. If we look at the Madolche side deck, we have a royal. The interesting things are the Royal Prison, the non-fusion area, the 1 goes and match, and the 2 Prohibition. Prohibition's always been an interesting one, and an interesting discussion on the card. That is it worth running? Because there are so many cards that you can hit, but at the end of the day, there is always a way around it. So it's certainly an interesting one. Calling, for example, Shadow Fusion in Shadows against Shadows is obviously a very nice card to call, but there are ways around it. So it's certainly an interesting one. One I may do a discussion on at some point. So we are ready, we are rock and roll, we are just shuffling up for the next round. The next game, and we shall get this going. Excuse me. So I fully imagine that the Madolche player will be going first, which he is. So I can't really see what he's got, but he's got 3 back row, and he passes to the Laval player. Laval player is going to summon Curry Bandit. And if I was the Madolche player, if I could stop this, I would. But it's very difficult to stop a Curry Bandit without, for example, warning it. It's something that he's probably just going to have to accept and go ahead with. So, Curry Bandit effect does go off with a breakthrough that's nice. The rekindling again and the molten conduction field, but he doesn't have a lot of larvals. Oh, now that is an unfortunate couple of mills because they are all very good cards. I would probably take. So he's decided he's cut it down to 3. Personally, I would take the conduction field out of those because there's not much you can really do. You need to get your combos going, and that is that. So I saw that the Madolche player actually drew Messenger Lato, so we're probably likely to see a bit of damage on board here. So he's going to attempt attack, and he's going to artifact ignition his own card, which is most likely a moral attack. So he's going to set a moral attack. I'm pretty sure that is a moral attack that he has, or it might be a beagle tick. I'm not entirely sure. Apologies for this. Sorry, it is a moral attack that he has destroyed. So he's going to summon and he's going to attempt to destroy a face-up, but he can't. But now there is a stalemate where they are both at a trade-off, so they're just going to trade each other off. Because it makes sense for the Madolche player to do that, because he technically doesn't really lose any advantage. So here is the molten conduction field, and this is where 5 larvals get put into your opponent's your graveyard. So he's going to do 1 card, and then a Handmaiden, and then Handmaiden, then Handmaiden, and then probably Cannoneer. And there is the debunk. So that stopped him very nicely there. That's probably going to be the game-changing moment, because you need your graveyard for larvals, and you need to be able to actually go off. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened here, and it's going to be an uphill battle now, because even though the opponent, I take it back, you can just never tell in these duels, can you? The soul charge coming out for 1, 2, 3,000 life points, putting him down on 5,000. And I just edited the wrong shot again. So the Torrential Tribute unfortunately came out there as well, but he's now exhausted all of his back row, and we know that he has a Messenger Lato in hand, Messenger Lato that's going to be bumped up to 2-1. So he's going to attack his face down, and that's just a non-issue card for the Madolche player. So now it is the larval's turn. He's going to have a think. There are a couple of ways out of this duel. And we know that it's going to be an uphill battle, but he's just going to keep defending for now. If you drew a Handmaiden, it might be quite useful for that to happen now, because it seems like the Madolche player is unfortunately on a bit of an uphill battle with what he's got. But he's going to take 2-1 here to put him down to 9. So the Laval player is just looking at what he's got in his graveyard to actually combo against these cards. He's going to pop the face down with a lady, and that probably means, oh no, sorry, my bad. He is summoning a blaster. So summoning the blaster to try and, you know, defend himself against the onslaught of the Madolche cards. So he's just thinking, hey, still in his main phase 1. And we know that that face down is a bluff, because it's a double summon. But will he go in? Will he buy the bluff? He's currently having a bit of a think. The dilemma is that he doesn't want the blaster to get banished if it is a D prison, for example, because It's oh, it is a deprison. It's not a double summon. Sorry. So that was basically worst case scenario, and that's probably going to mean that the Laval player has lost the game now because the Madolche player should just be able to attack. I wouldn't, as the Madolche player, I wouldn't want to do anything at this moment in time. I just want to try and push for game. And looking at the hand, he has the Prohibition and the double summon. So the worst case scenario is possibly a Mirror Force. And even then, they'll come back to the hand, and then he can start going off. And he's Prohibition, he's calling something. But now here we have the Artifact Sanctum. So the Sanctum's now going to come out. And oh, it's the Beagle Tech. And the Beagle Tech has going to hit the Moral Tech, which is set. So this is going to be a nice little combo. And the Moral Tech is going to destroy probably the Chateau. It's a very good choice because destroying the Chateau means that they can't actually start doing any of their crazy plays. You don't want them to do any of their crazy plays because it's just difficult. Once Madolche get going, it's very difficult to kind of stop them. I'm not sure what the Prohibition has been called on, unfortunately, but going into a level 5 rank now will be nice. He could always go into, I was going to say, he could always go into a Volcasaurus, and then Volcasaurus will be able to, you know, just pop and then go into a Gaia, for example. So that's 16, so that's 1,000. So that's 100. And then 2/5, so that is, yeah, so that's 900. So he's basically taken 1,000 life points there, damage. So it's very interesting because the Madolche player is now in the spot of bother. The Laval player has really turned it around, and I would expect to see this to return the monster. I would return the back row more than the monster. Yeah. Because even though we know it's a bluff, the opponent doesn't, and you don't want it to be a trap that's chainable to when, for example, this is a nice draw. You don't want it to be a trap that's going to be chainable to the effect. So it's just a sensible play and the safe play to turn the back row back into his hands. Then he can deal with the monster, and as you can see, he could actually Lakeside Lady the face down to send it back into the opponent's deck. If it is so much a Madolche card. He's just having a look at his graveyard here. There are no targets that he has for Hootcake, for example. So that's just going to attack, and Mufuli is going to go back into the deck, and then he's going to attack for 2,500. So the Laval player is turning it around here, and it's certainly an interesting duel straight away already. So as you can see the updated life points, they're getting closer and closer together now. So the effect surely has to go off now to bounce one. He has nothing to lose with this effect. He needs to make sure that there are no chainable traps. So, as I guessed, he activated the effect. And at this point, he's just got to attack. He doesn't need to do anything. He can possibly Lakeside Lady the back row, but summoning a monster is dangerous. I think he already did activate the Torrential Tribute, unfortunately. So he's going to Book a Moon. So he takes 1/7 and 500. So it leaves him on 3/2. So he did summon the Madolche. The Madolche will help him here. Double summon, very nice. This is now the turnaround. This is the comeback. So you can see that double summon can be a very big dead card in the deck. But when it works, it really helps, especially drawing that Madolche. That Madolche has just allowed him to completely go off and will cause him to win this duel, because he will go, the Madolche, he'll get Hootcake, and Hootcake will grab a level 3, then he can go into just, oh, he has already got something, sorry, with Hootcake, and now he can go into Tiramisu, which would be very, very nice, because that can send back anything that he so wishes. Using the Chateau as well will boost up the damage, and really help. I can't see the Laval player actually coming back from this, unfortunately. But the question is, does he have any targets in his grave? Yes, he does, because he has Chateau. So he sends them back, and then this is going to be game. Because he's only on 2,900 life points. Tiramisu has 2,300, and Hootcake has 1,500. So that is game 2. Game 3 shortly coming up now. I'm just resetting everything back to how it should be. But it is certainly nice to see the Laval player here. I am kind of rooting for him because, again, I do like Lavals. It's slightly biased, but, you know, we are biased in this world. I must say, it's been very fun today. It's a shame the stream didn't come up. But there is not much you can really do about that. You just got to roll with the punches and really just accept that it's going to happen at times. There genuinely isn't much that you can do. You just got to, you know, just got to live by the sword and die by the sword. Yeah, so as people might guess, that the commentary is getting a bit better. I do feel the commentary is getting better because I am a lot more comfortable now. I know the levels and I know what they can hear, and it's very difficult to jump into something where you are doing the life points, you're doing the making sure that the life points are displayed on the screen. You want to make sure that you are, let's say, entertaining for people to listen to. Otherwise, it's just not going to be good because it's going to ruin the match. And I feel that I can, you know, I can do that. I just got to keep it up. It's very tiring to be doing everything all at once. So I do hope you are enjoying the stream, well, the recordings of this. And if you do enjoy them, please do let me know down in the comment section below. It would be a real great help. If you do have any feedback, that would also be absolutely amazing, because at the end of the day, nothing is perfect, and I realize this isn't perfect. So I would love to know more of what you would consider to be improving on this. So we are kicking off game 3 with the Laval player going first. He did draw the Molten Conduction Field, which is a really nice draw. So that has dumped that into his grave. He has 4 more cards, and I'm guessing one of those is a Lakeside Lady because I only saw 2 in the grave. It's always such a ball ache when you draw the Lakeside Lady. Really do hate it. So now it's the Madolche player's turn. Going against 3 back row with Lavals, against Lavals must be a interesting prospect, because you just don't know what they could have sided in. We know what he could have sided in because I have the deck list. But there could be anything from Different Dimension Ground to Malevolent Catastrophe and to Chain Disappearance, and you know, he does have a lot of other traps, because let's not forget, this is the artifact Lavals, and speak of the devil, here is the artifact Sanctum. Sanctum is now going to come out, and it is going to get rid of that prohibition. So he is targeting one of his back row, and it has to happen. So, oh, that is interesting. So he's popping 1, Is he going to pop another? No, he's only using Beagle Tech's effect, but it's a mandatory effect you have to pop. If I am so correct. I believe I am correct in the fact that you have to pop a back row if you do want to summon Beagle Tech. But unfortunately, I am not there. So that is something that came up in Worlds when the opponent, I think it was in a Dragon Duel, the opponent did try and summon Beagle Tech without popping his back row, and it's a mandatory effect that you have to pop a back row. And he's popped the Palooza there. So the Palooza, I'd consider that with 3 back row, I'd consider that a bit of a miss. But he's going to activate it again to try and pop another back row. He's going to go for this one, and that is a Deep Prison, so that can be considered a very good hit. But there is now 1 back row left, and if this is a warning or a bottomless, he's going to feel pretty sad that he got quite unlucky. But a Tyrius could be a very nice play here, because the opponent does have cards he can pop, and if you are attacking into 1 back row, no matter what the back row is, it will certainly help protect you, and that is what he has gone for. I do want to apologise about the lighting. Sometimes it is a little bit weird. It's because the room that they are in is basically a kind of little room that has... it's not a clear ceiling. It's a clear ceiling, sorry. So it does unfortunately have a little bit of glare. So the Madolche player is now on 5-4 because the Tyrius actually did come out and pop a card. Sorry, he did attack, and there is not much you can do about that. And that looks like he's going to attack again, leaving him on 2-8. Now, as we saw in the previous duel, you cannot count the Madolche player out because he pulled it out of the bag at the last minute. So it's going to be very interesting to see what will happen here. So it's now his turn. He's on 200 life points. He's probably going to try and push for game now. That face down card, if it has 200 attack, he should use it. And that's it. That is game. What an unfortunate time. But he had the warning and the breakthrough. There is no way that Laval player was going to throw away that game because it was just brutal. Tyrius there, even though it wasn't much of a use in the fact that it was going to change the game, it still actually really helped put the Laval player at ease with the plays that he could do. So they're just talking about that now. So that's round 6. So Laval player is X2, and I hope you did enjoy this one. Stay tuned for more uploads. They will be coming out soon. And this is Linthio signing out. See you at round 7.